Hi everybody, I'm back. So I apologize for my absence. Unfortunately, in the days leading up to Thanksgiving, I had a death in the family. It was a shock. And, I just decided I needed to take a little bit of time off. And I decided, you know what, I'm going to pick it back up on December 1st. So thanks for understanding. And I'm ready to tackle December. Unfortunately, I missed a lot of stuff at the end of November. So a lot of Christmas markets opened, and I'm going to try to catch everything up over the next couple days. So, fingers crossed, you guys are going to be Christmas ready when the time comes. Thank you to all the people who either commented or reached out to me privately. I appreciate it. And also, for those of you who are curious, the boss she is a little bit clingy at the moment, but she is doing really well. So let's get started with the top of the month in December. I decided to go snowflake blue and red, and of course my Christmas gnome here. That's how we're going to start this month off. But before we get started, if this is your first time here, welcome. I'm Gretchen, the Tipsy Travel Gal, and I am a licensed esthetician and travel agent, and it is my goal to eat, drink, and spa my way around the world. I'm going to bring you along with me, showing you a bunch of really cool things to do and see and experience, and of course, eat and drink. The slushies are back. I don't know if you can see it. I kind of had a slushy overflow. My hope is that's going to inspire you to travel, whether that be domestic or international. Now, if that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing to my channel because there's a lot more of this content to come. Now, I always do my qualifying statement, and that is I am only one person, and I, of course, do not know of all the things that are happening around the world at any given time. It is highly possible that I'm going to miss something, and maybe even that you hold near and dear to your heart. Please don't get mad at me. However, if I do miss something and something that you think the world needs to know about, please either comment below or contact me at one of my social media channels or send me an email. I'll give you that information at the end of this video. But know that I'm not doing it on purpose. I probably just don't know about it. Now let's dive into December. Finishing up this month, actually in a couple of days, is the International Alba White Truffle Fair. So if you're going to be near Alba, Italy, and you love truffles, definitely a place to stop to pick up those rare finds of white truffles. Now, continuing from last month is the Pismo State Beach monarch butterfly migration that runs through February. Now, as of November, they did a count on November 2nd, and so far, 8,114 monarch butterflies have arrived. Now, hopefully, the next time they do a count, it's going to be even higher. The numbers are lower than last year, but still up from previous years when they were afraid they were actually going to be going extinct. So keep your eyes out for the monarchs. They are still making their way south. Also continuing on this month is the Ripe Market in Dubai. It runs on the weekends and is a huge marketplace with pop-ups and events and wellness things like yoga, and it's all free. Now that Thanksgiving is over, Christmas is now, of course, in full swing. Interestingly enough, most of the biggest markets are already open, and I, of course, missed most of those openings. So like I said, I'm going to get you caught up. So I won't be doing daily Christmas markets that are opening because there aren't that many more that are like newly opening. So I'll be doing the top of the week of all the Christmas markets that are opening because we've only got 3 weeks left to Christmas. Ooh. So be looking for those at the top of the week. They're basically going to be the week's what's happening because there's not a lot happening this month other than Christmas stuff. But there is other stuff happening, and let's dive into the new stuff. Now, in the Chicago area, we've had some chilly weather out here, and we've even had a little bit of snow, and winter sports are ready to roll. So if you're looking for a winter adventure, the Canadian Rockies have got it. Now, the Canadian Rockies encompass both British Columbia and Alberta, and it really spreads across 3 very large national parks in Canada. That would be Banff, which I've talked about before. Kootenay and Yoho National Parks are also included in the Canadian Rockies. Now, if you can do it on snow or ice, Canada's got it. There's snowshoe, dog sledding, toboggans. There are ice walks on the glaciers. There are sleigh rides through the forest. And of course, you cannot forget skiing and heli-skiing. There are actually a lot of tours that will take you heli-skiing into the Canadian Rockies. Remember Lake Louise, the beautiful turquoise lake? Well, that's going to freeze over and you can ice skate and play hockey on Lake Louise. And of course, there are trains that will take you on a beautiful vista ride through the Rockies. Now, the cost for tours and activities, I couldn't possibly list all of that because there's a lot of different tour companies that do different things. There's pretty much something for every price range though. So your best bet is to check with your travel agent or me if there is something in particular that you would like to do and you can get a price quote for that. So if you're an outdoor sportsman, head to Canada. Time to move on. Now, if you're looking for something a little bit warmer, the southern hemisphere is where you need to go because as we're entering winter in the northern hemisphere, they're starting their summer. And if you're looking for something interesting to do, the flamingos are in full force and breeding in Laguna Colorado, Bolivia. Interestingly enough, flamingos don't have a set mating season, so it's not like they flock to a certain area to mate. So if they're in an area, their mating season is linked to the rainfall. Now, as I said, South America, where Bolivia is at, is in summertime, and they have very heavy rainfalls in Laguna Colorado. So if you'd like to see some baby flamingos, now's the time to go there. Now, I checked the State Department because South America can be a little bit on the dicey side as to whether or not you should go there. They're actually on a level 2 right now, which is exercise extreme caution. Basically, when they say exercise extreme caution, they're just that right now, Europe is on exercise extreme caution. And since they're on a slightly elevated alert, it's probably best if you just go with a tour group who will be able to give you all the information you would ever want to know about the beautiful flamingos that you are about to see. Now, time to stay in warm weather. We're going to move on to Mexico City. So I mentioned the monarch butterflies that are overwintering in Pismo State Beach. And I don't know if you remember when I talked about it last month. They travel from Canada and move their way south. And if they're west of the Rockies, they basically flock to California. But on the east of the Rockies, they flock to Mexico. And it can be kind of a long journey down that way. But guess what? They're there. The best place to see it is the Monarch Butterfly Biosphere Reserve, which is about 100 miles northwest of Mexico City in Michoacan, Mexico. Now, they're going to be there roughly January through March. As things start to thaw up north, they'll start making their way back up. But some of these butterflies have traveled 2,000 miles to get to this location. Now, Mexico City, a level 2 alert with the State Department. So if you're going down there, Mexico City, you just want to be a little bit careful, but there are day tours that will take you to the Biosphere Reserve to see the monarch butterfly. So if that's something that's on your bucket list, that can be arranged and a tour group will take you out there. So we've talked about flamingos, we've talked about butterflies. Let's get back to some whales. We're going to head back to California, specifically Rancho Palos Verdes Beach. So the Pacific gray whale has spent most of their summer up in the Arctic, where they have a huge amount of food supply, where they eat and, of course, gain weight. But it's starting to get cold up there because as fall approaches, the food sources begin to die off. So they make their way down the coast to warmer waters where they will mate and give birth. Now, one of the premier whale watching sites in California, specifically for the Pacific gray whale, is Point Vicente Interpretive Center in Rancho's Palos Verdes Beach, California. Now, they're going to be hanging around now through like mid-February, so you are welcome to go there. They also have a beautiful lighthouse and an observatory. There are also day trips that can take you out with guided tours, and they can tell you about the area. But there is no charge to go to the point and go whale watching. Now, I said there's no cost, but they do accept donations, so throw some cash their way when you enter. Now, the whales are escaping the frigid temperatures, but where we're going next is back up to the Arctic Circle in Fairbanks, Alaska, for the Aurora Ice Museum. Check hot springs resort is, of course, Hot Springs up in Fairbanks, Alaska. Fairbanks being in central Alaska, where it does get quite cold. Now, they are the largest year-round ice environment, and the Ice Museum exists year-round as well, but in the wintertime is one of the best times to go up there and visit it. Now, it is created from 1,000 tons of ice and snow harvested from the resort. As I said, it's open year-round, and it's kept at a balmy 25 degrees. There are tours available of the Ice Museum. It's about $10 to get in, and the tour lasts about 45 minutes, but of course you get to be on the really cool grounds, and of course you can also visit the hot springs while you are there. Now, if you're wondering how you can get there, let's move on to our next option. The Alaska Railroad Aurora train takes you from Anchorage all the way to Fairbanks. Now, if you didn't know, it's Aurora Borealis season, and the Northern Hemisphere is where you're going to get the best view of them. The closer you get to the Arctic Circle, the better chance you have of seeing them. Now, I've actually gone Aurora Borealis hunting, and I have seen them. I was in the Arctic Circle in Finland, in a beautiful resort called Kalkslauten. But you don't need a passport to see the Aurora Borealis because we've got Alaska. So this train goes through the Alaskan wilderness, including by Mount Denali. This is big business for Alaska because it is one of the only places that you can routinely see the Aurora Borealis in the United States. Now, you can do a 2-day trip. You can take the train from Anchorage to Fairbanks, stay overnight in Fairbanks, and then head back the next day. Or you can stay up there longer. You just have to, of course, have hotel accommodations for that. There is also a 6-day tour that starts that will take you and stop along the way, as well as give you accommodations in all the points of interest, including Mount Denali. Basically, they're going to take you aurora hunting. They're going to show you some absolutely gorgeous views of Alaska and the largest mountain in the United States, Mount Denali. It is not cheap. I'm putting the pricing around my head here. This is just for the up and back. 6-day trip I was telling you about is about $2,100 a person. If you're interested in something like this, I would highly recommend contacting a travel agent so that we can make sure that you are completely prepared for this amazing trip to the north. Moving on. We're going to move to Japan, which has some amazing Christmas decorations right now, but there are other places other than Tokyo to enjoy the winter months. Gokuyama and Shirakawa-go start getting snow in late December, and they are blanketed in this beautiful, pristine snow, and they turn their villages into a winter, magical, snowy winter wonderland. Now, Shirakawa-go is a little bit more popular, so you're going to hit more crowds. If you want less crowds, Gokuyama is going to be your better bet. Now, it's not necessarily the easiest place to get, especially if you're starting in Tokyo. There are no trains that will take you to these areas. So you will either have to drive, and it's roughly a 5-hour trip. And it's not an easy drive because you are driving through mountainous areas, so they definitely say if you're going to be driving, you need to be prepared to drive in mountains, and your car needs to be winter mountain driving ready. You can also take a bus. One of the better options is to take a bullet train to one of the cities that are closer to it. Takayama, Kyoto, Osaka, those are all relatively close, and you can then just purchase a day trip to either one of these cities. Pricing, of course, is determined by where you're coming from and if you're going to be driving yourself or if you're going to be doing a tour, but that can always be arranged with the help of a travel agent. Now we're going to head back to Europe for some toboggan runs. Oslo, Norway is definitely a mecca for anybody who enjoys the winter months. And if you feel like going on a huge sledding trip, you would head up to Korketrekken. Now, this was a former bobsled and luge track, which has now been made into a toboggan and sled run. It is 2,000 meters, which is roughly 1.25 miles long, and it has an elevation drop of 250 meters. One ride all the way down this run will take you 8 to 10 minutes. Now, I'm going to put the starting point and the ending point up here because I do not know how to pronounce these names and I don't want to embarrass myself or infuriate Norwegians. But you start at this location, you end at this location, and there is a subway system. There are metro stations that will take you back to the top. So you start at the top, you sled down, and then you just take that sled, jump on the metro, and ride back up again. You know, we're talking much longer than even like, there are no ski lifts. You literally have to take the subway to get back up to the top. And that metro ride takes about 16 minutes. Now, obviously, it's only open when there is snow on the mountain. They do not make artificial snow. The good news is it is free to take this toboggan and sled run. Of course, you do need a sled. There are sled rentals, about 100 to 150 Norwegian krones per day. And that's not actually a lot of money, so don't worry about trying to bring a sled with you to Norway if that's what you're going to be doing. And that is it for all the fun stuff going on in December that is not Christmas related. Even though some of them can be Christmas activities, still, they're independent winter sports. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please consider giving it a like and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. So if there's something I missed or you have a question about any of these things, please feel free to comment below, or you can send me a message on any of my social media accounts. I am Tipsy Travel Gal on pretty much all of them. Some of them I check more than others, but if you send me a message, you can find me there. You can also go to tipsytravelgal.com, my website. And if you go to the menu at the top, all the way to the right is a contact me page where you can send me an email. So thanks again for watching. I hope we have an amazing December and a wonderful holiday season. And I will see you next time. Bye.